Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to light a fire with flint and steel. So we're going to be making a tinder bundle to light our fire, and we're looking for stuff that can help with that. So, obviously there are leaves everywhere. I hear that woodpecker again. These leaves are decent. I'd like to see some bigger leaves, as they're going to make it a little bit easier to do this. I prefer pine needles. There's a technique that I use with pine needles that I use a lot. But instead, what I think we're going to end up using is a cedar band, which is also pretty easy. I'll show you guys how to do that. I was looking for some larger leaves. Here we go. Those are hickory leaves, and this is not a hickory tree. This is a cedar tree. Oh, that's actually two things. Hang on. This bark is really good. None of that's any good. Important thing to note, never ever go around the tree this way. You can actually kill a tree that way. It's called girdling, or girding, one of the two. I'll have to check later. A couple more of these big hickory leaves and we should be good. Here's where we're going to get the cedar band. I'll show you guys how to do that. We have a couple small strips of cedar bark, but we need a big one. So, we're going to very carefully set everything down. And very carefully slide that up to about right there. And we actually don't need this part right here. We do need this part, this fuzzy part. That's the good part. So we'll keep that. We're going to use this to secure our fire bundle. This cedar is fantastic. You can see up underneath this really stringy stuff right here. This is very useful for starting fires. If you were lucky enough to have somebody at your site before you, you can actually get a little bit of charcoal. Smells really good, actually. And use that to help you light a fire and to help you keep your fire going. All right, so I don't want to. This stone that's gone weird. I don't want to build up too much because we're not going to stay too long. So I don't want to build up a big fire. Well, at least build up a small one. And this is a very, very, very small version of the upside down log cabin. And the way that the upside down log cabin works is that the fire burns down from the top and you need a nice bed of coals. So you don't get a big fire out of this, but you do get a good cook fire. We'll build our last bed right here out of even smaller materials. And the way that this fire works is that you build beds of larger and larger material from top down. So as you're building it, you actually want to start with your bigger material and then go smaller and smaller. That way the fire burns down. All right, so the last part is just going to be pieces of bark that came off the sticks. Try not to accidentally cut myself. That would be very bad. That is one of the worst survival scenarios that you can be in, is injured. If you can, don't take unnecessary risks. Try and avoid all injury. Any injury when you are in a survival situation is super dangerous. Also, this sounds weird, but if you can, find a sharp rock and use that if you're in an actual survival scenario, because you don't want to waste your knife unless you have a tool like a file to sharpen a knife with. I carry a file in my bag, so I'm not super duper worried about that, but, you know, if you can't sharpen your knife, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So that top bed is not super great, but we'll go ahead and get this started. Alright, so I'm going to talk about what's in my bag real quick. I have 2 pieces of striking flint. I purchased these, but I've also used stones that I've found. I have a tinder box. This has my char cloth in it. You can see I have pieces of char cloth in there. I recommend making char cloth yourself out of towels or rags because they have a better surface area. And my Rowan Taylor flint striker. Alright, so we're going to be building a slightly smaller fire bundle today because I don't have a huge thing, which is actually pretty useful. So you want a nice wide piece of whatever you're working with. I'm going to use cedar bark, but a lot of times I do this with pine needles. With pine needles, you want to take just like a double handful and fold them in half so you get a little crook in the end, and then you can set some small tinder in there. So we're going to take strips and pieces of this stuff. We're going to break it up real fine and set it aside. Take a couple more pieces. And we want them to still stay kind of long. Pull them apart. And then we're going to try and get some of that fuzzy stuff. Don't cut towards yourself, please. Be very careful doing that. We're going to try and get some of that fuzzy stuff, that underbark layer. There we go. And we're going to pull that out. As much of it as we can. And you can, yeah, you can roll it off like that, wherever you can find it. And the more that you can get, the easier this will be, but don't freak out about not getting enough, because it doesn't take that much. So now that we've got it, we're gonna twist it up so that it gets all fluffy like this. And I really didn't get as much as I wanted, so since I've got a big piece left, we're going to try and get more off. You can rub your finger over it and get it off that way. And the more of this you can get, the easier this is going to be, like I said. When you're rolling it off like that, try to make sure that you don't get too much of it like compacted and rolled up, because that can actually make this a little difficult. All right, that should be good enough. So we're gonna fluff that up as much as we can. You can put a spark directly into that, but I have char cloth, which will make life a little easier, so we're going to do it that way. So you want to get it as fluffy as you can, so that it'll catch sparks and catch fire nicely. Alright, for the actual bundle, we want something that burns easily. I'm using leaves this time, and also some cedar bark. And this is something that you would fold in half. So we're going to take here's our strip that we've already kinked up, and put it on the outside. We're going to fold it in half. And the reason that you want to do this is so that when you're blowing on it, you're not up in it like this, because you can burn your nose, and you want to keep your fingers away from it. So now that you've got this nice little fold right here, get your part that catches fire. And since I don't want this to mess up, I'm going to wrap that end up. That is not necessary. I did that because I have to put it down. So this is what it looks like up close. You can see the tinder is all the way in there, and the rest is light kindling and heavy tinder. For this next part, you want to have your bundle close by and set and ready to go. Also, this bundle is gigantic for what we're doing, and that fire is very small, but it's just a demonstration. Normally, your fire would be larger, and this would go inside or on top of the top layer. In this case, it's way too big. So, again, this is just a demonstration. So, take a little bit of your char cloth, and the char cloth is going to be the part that actually catches the spark. I'm going to set it down, and I'm going to feel where I'm getting, oh, that was terrible, good sparks off of this. I'm getting some decent ones right there. So, there we go. All right. Now, we're going to take this and tuck it kind of up underneath of that. And then you would want to very quickly get it to where you're working. Now, again, I do not have a lot of stuff here because I don't want to light a gigantic fire because we're not staying. So, we'll just demonstrate it this way. I burnt my nose doing the exact thing that I tell people not to do. And there you go. So we can see that's going to burn up into the cedar, hopefully. There we go. I didn't blow on it quite hard enough. And then you would just lay on anything that you can, or that you are attempting to use as kindling. You can lay it in as long as it will pick up the fire easily. Another thing that you can do if you have something for it, and hopefully I can get this going before that goes out, is if you take a stick, you can get these little curls of wood. There's a fast way of doing this that I can't do and show it on camera. You can get these little curls of wood to stick and not pop off of the branch. You want to get more than that. It's called a feather stick, and you can use that. You can see those caught very quickly. You can use that to build up the rest of the fire. Flint and steel is not difficult to work with, but there are tricks to it, and because it is different, it can be difficult to learn, but once you get the knack for it, it is pretty easy. You can also add things like small pieces of charcoal. You don't want to powderize it, but you can drop those in there, and that will help greatly. But so, yeah, that's how you build a fire. And then you would just want to build it up with whatever you want. You can use this method for any style of fire that you're working with. And that's actually pretty much the entire technique. Thank you guys for checking this out, and we'll see you next time. Hey everybody, Ranger Vail here. Just wanted to remind you that if you're using pine needles for your fire bundle, they do have pine resin in them, so they will burn hotter, so please be aware of that. In addition, I did look it up. It is in fact called girdling, and it does kill trees, so please be very careful when removing bark from trees that you don't go all the way around. Also, when I'm removing cedar bark from cedar trees, I'm only lightly peeling away the outside bark. I'm trying not to cut into any of the actual living bark. Last but not least, it's very important to practice good fire safety. Always make sure your fire is out before you leave the area. Thank you guys very much for watching another video. Hopefully we'll see you soon.